I am getting married soon and my fiance just told me it's weird to still have an ex in your life and be on good terms. Now she's demanding I cut off my childhood friend or she'll cut off the wedding. For context, my ex-girlfriend, let's call her Emma, 26F, and I, 26M, were together for 9 years. We got together when we were 13 and broke things off when we were 22. We have been friends since first grade, grew up together, and our families became quite close, while our friendship circles were always intertwined at some point or another. We drifted in different directions as we got older and we realized that what we wanted from our relationships was ultimately different. We no longer had romantic feelings for one another, so we decided we would be better off as friends, and the breakup was very amicable. Now to the issue. My fiancée, let's call her Sarah, 24F, and I have been together for almost 3 years. I proposed a few days ago, and we are set to be married this year. I was so happy when she said yes. Our relationship has been great, amazing communication, always smiling together, it's been wonderful. She knew about my past with Emma as I was very upfront with her about it when we first began dating, as Emma and I are still friends. Our families still get together for sporting events, parties, and hang out together all the time. My parents are really close to hers, and our siblings, 22M, 25F, 17F, 18F, and 19M, are good friends too. They are all really close, and they even have a weekly pizza night. I didn't want Sarah to feel uncomfortable at any point, so I tried really hard to let her know everything I could and take the right steps to show her that she is my number one. I would always include her in family events, make sure my family would spend time with her, and even tried to create our own rituals together. I adore this girl, I think she is incredible, and from the day I met her, I have been head over heels. She hasn't voiced a single problem to me about any of this until today. Before today, she would even encourage me to invite Emma over to get-togethers we have hosted, or along to movies or dinner with our other friends. I was under the impression Sarah really liked her, especially considering the extra effort she would make to include her. Sarah and Emma have always gotten along, and they haven't been anything but nice to one another. Today, Sarah told me that after taking time to really think about it, my friendship with Emma is weird and shouldn't continue. She gave me an ultimatum, to end our friendship, or she will end the relationship. She said she feels disrespected that I would even consider keeping someone I had a relationship with in my life. I couldn't get a single word in before she left to stay with a friend. I don't understand how any of this could happen. She seemed happy. This is meant to be a positive time in our relationship. She said nothing has happened between her, Emma, or our families. I don't know what to do. She has been blowing up my phone with texts, and I don't know what to say. I thought I did everything right. Emma and I are still friends, not overly close though, but we definitely don't cross any kind of boundaries together. We don't speak about anything inappropriate or do anything we should not. She is also in a relationship at the moment. We don't talk every day, and don't see each other one-on-one or very frequently. Sarah has also mentioned that she is uncomfortable with our family spending time together after we have broken up and wants me to put an end to that behavior as well. I can't control what my family does, who they see, or who they are friends with. They have been nothing but kind to Sarah, they make a real effort to make her feel special and even include her family. I don't know what to do. Is my friendship wrong? Should I talk to our families? Update 1. It's been a very eventful 3 days, and after all of the advice I was given on my last post, I thought I would share an update. I also want to thank everyone for their words of wisdom and kindness. I read every comment and took them all to heart. This update is long and not what I was hoping for, but what happened has happened. I couldn't get a hold of Sarah for 2 days. She wouldn't answer my calls or my messages. I'd left her a voicemail asking her to come home or to meet up somewhere for coffee so we could talk together, but it was never answered. I let her know I loved her, that she would always be first, but I heard nothing back. She's never been like this. If we had an issue, we would always talk it through. We even had a pact to never go to bed mad at one another, and we never have, but she didn't come home, she didn't even reply to me. At first, I thought she wanted some time to cool down, but it just kept getting later. I texted her, explaining I'd do whatever I could to show her how much she means to me. I explained the only reason I saw Emma was at gatherings for mutual friends or family friends that she tagged along to, or when Sarah invited her to events herself. I told her she didn't have to do that I didn't want it or need it, I only wanted her. I said I wouldn't attend any get-togethers I knew Emma would attend at all. I also tried my best to explain that our families were very close before Emma and I got together, and that I couldn't control who they were friends with. I did tell her we could talk, though, and that we could maybe come up with something together that would make her feel more comfortable. It took everything I had to not keep calling her to see if she was okay, but I didn't want to upset her further. I still hadn't heard from her by the afternoon of the next day. I tried to call her again, but it rang out. I sent her another message telling her I just wanted to know if she was okay and that if I didn't hear back from her soon, I would have to start calling her family or her friends. She texted me back straight away, "I'm fine, I'm not coming home," and that was it. I tried to call her. I knew she was right there, I figured she would pick up. I called, but she had turned her phone off. I didn't know what to do. I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I didn't know what would bring her home, I just wanted to talk. I wanted to make it better. I ended up going to my parents' house last night, which was about 5 minutes away. I was an absolute mess and didn't think I would cope by myself. It was about 8 p.m. when I went over, and I hadn't heard from her again, so I went to bed in the spare room. I was only asleep for a few hours when things started to hit the fan. My phone was blowing up, and it was all Sarah. "Where are you? Did you run back to her?" I had no idea what she was talking about. I told her I was at my parents', I told her I was coming home, I begged her to please just stay. I was fumbling, trying to get myself dressed and find my keys. It was about 2 in the morning. I kept dropping everything. I wanted to be gone. I was halfway out the door when it happened. She pulled up into the driveway and was absolutely livid when she got out of the car. She was screaming at me, yelling her head off, and no matter what I did, she wouldn't calm down. The street my parents live on is fairly echoey, and she was being loud. People started flicking their lights on, and our neighbors started to come out onto their porches. It was a big crap show. My parents came outside too, and my mother started to try to talk to her. They have always gotten along well, and she wasn't responding to me no matter how much I tried, but Sarah wasn't having it. She told me she knew what I had been doing behind her back, that her family knew, and I was lucky enough to be given a chance to cut my ties and move on after having an affair for so long. For the record, I have never cheated on her, let alone had an affair. I love Sarah, I wanted to marry her and be with her. It didn't matter what I said, though, she wouldn't believe me, she wouldn't listen. She kept calling me every name under the sun. My mother asked her to please come inside to talk, that it was a misunderstanding, that I loved her, that they loved her, and we just needed to talk it through. Sarah started calling her a bleep, a terrible mother, an awful person, told her that she knew what I was apparently doing, and even encouraged it, how sick she was for that. My mother tried to explain herself, that this wasn't happening, and that's when Sarah slapped her. Out of nowhere, full force. I went silent, and my mother started to cry. Sarah started apologizing, over and over, it was instant regret, or at least it looked that way. It didn't matter, though, I ended it right there. I told her to go, that the engagement was off, we were over, and that she needed to get her things from my house. She was crying, still apologizing, but you can't come back from that. She hit my mother, who has always shown all the love in the world to Sarah, and for her to do that to someone, let alone someone who means that much to me, was enough. I don't know why she wouldn't listen to me, I don't know why she chose to believe these other people over me, why she wouldn't even talk, but it doesn't matter. I've never felt this empty. I gave 3 years of my life to someone who refused to even talk to me or believe me. I thought I knew her, I thought she was kind. How can you go so long with someone and not even know what they could be capable of? All I know at this point is that I plan to stay single for a while. Edit. My mother is one tough lady, and she is handling it well considering, but I haven't seen her this upset in a really long time. She was excited about our wedding, she thought Sarah was the greatest girl I've ever brought home. She considered her a daughter and a friend, which is what hurts her the most, I think. She's definitely getting there though, she even started cracking jokes that I just shouldn't date anymore and buy a dog instead.
Hey, let's talk about that uneasy feeling when your new boo is still buddies with their ex. First off, it's totally normal to feel a bit anxious. But here's the thing, friendships with exes can actually be a good sign. It shows maturity and the ability to maintain positive relationships. Instead of letting your imagination run wild, try open communication. Ask your partner about their friendship dynamics. Set some boundaries that make you both comfortable. Remember, trust is the foundation of any solid relationship. If your partner's given you no reason to doubt them, try to embrace their friendships.
My wife doesn't love me anymore and completely forgot about our marriage, so I reminded her with divorce papers to pick up the slack or I'm not coming back. I, 35M, have been married to my wife, 37F, for 7 years, and we were together for another 3 before that. We have one daughter, 5F. On the outside, our marriage appears to be perfect. She and I own a nice house with a good school district, have a great kid, and both work full-time. Her job requires her to do some travel and wants her in the office 3 days a week. My job does not pay as well, but I work completely remote and spend a lot of time taking my daughter to soccer or doctor's appointments, as well as keeping up around the house. Before anyone asks, this is not a weight gain issue, I am active and fit, and my wife is the same. For the past 4 or so years, my wife has shown basically no interest in our marriage and acts more like my roommate than a partner. We have basically no romance or intimacy. When I say intimacy, I know some people will jump to doing the deed, but to me, intimacy means acting like a couple, hand-holding, kisses, cuddling, and obviously smashing. None of those are really things my wife wants to do, and she makes it painfully obvious that she isn't interested. Before, she and I were very much an amazing couple. My wife also shows no interest in my life. She has forgotten important events like our anniversary and my birthday. On our last anniversary, she said she needed to cancel the dinner plans I made for the 2 of us because she had to work late on a Friday and travel for work the following week. I brought this up to my therapist, who suggested couples therapy and is willing to give some recommendations. I brought this up to my wife, who immediately shut it down, saying, "There's nothing wrong with me, I don't need therapy." I have made multiple suggestions to her for how we can possibly improve our relationship. Family vacation? Our daughter won't appreciate it. I don't see why a 5-year-old wouldn't want to go to the beach for a couple of days, but maybe I'm wrong. A romantic getaway for just her and me? No, I'm too busy at work. Can't we just spend time together at home? Taking our daughter on a bike ride and going out to lunch on a weekend? I want to just relax. So, I gave up trying to initiate anything with her and recently began looking for an out. I watched my parents in a failing marriage for a decade and don't want to put my child through that. I talked to a lawyer, got papers ready, and can buy a condo in town since I can't afford our house by myself. I recently confronted my wife when our daughter was at a playdate. I told her that I am seriously considering leaving her since I feel as though I don't matter to her and our relationship is never a priority to her. I told her I have an exit plan, and if she doesn't make changes by the new year, I'm going to file for divorce and seek full custody. She and I got into a big fight where she basically told me I was manipulative and the jerk for blindsiding her like that. I told her that none of this would be an issue if she cared about us or at least pretended to. I told her I don't want our daughter to see how unhealthy our relationship is. All of this happened yesterday. Was what I said to my wife too much? Update 1. Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for all of your replies and messages. I received a ton and haven't been able to reply to them all. It has been a crazy couple of weeks, unfortunately. My marriage is over, and after talking to my wife, I realize it has been for a long time. The day after my post, I began the divorce process with my lawyer. Everyone who said I was the jerk for saying I was going to get full custody, that is true. I was angry, frustrated, and said something I shouldn't have. We are going to split custody, with me having the weekdays and my wife having weekends. That said, everyone who said she was cheating, congratulations, you were right. She has been for around 4 years now, which is about the time she started withdrawing from our marriage. She has been cheating with this coworker because she felt like she was not attractive after having a child, and I was busy with work and childcare. More recently, she has begun to develop feelings for him and was considering leaving me for him, which she is now free to do. When I gave her the ultimatum, she was surprised that I was considering leaving her and thought I knew about her affair at the time. We sat our daughter down and explained that we are splitting up but we both love her more than anything. My daughter was understandably upset and is having a tough time. I am looking into therapy options for my daughter and told her that she can always tell me how she is feeling. This is the hardest part of everything so far. My wife and I are going to be geographically close. I'm going to be moving into a condo in early January, and my wife is going to move in with her coworker about 15 minutes away. With the sale of our house, I will be able to pay off a large portion of my new home. According to the lawyer, we can have everything wrapped up by New Year's if it goes smoothly, but with the holidays, I'll be happy with early January. In the meantime, I'm going to start rebuilding my life. I did not get married with the intention of getting divorced, but here we are. I am going to work on myself and my relationship with my daughter, starting with a vacation. I am going to surprise her with a trip to Disney this winter. It will be expensive, but I really want to make her happy and create some happy memories. I'm going to miss her on weekends. Maybe one day I'll explain all of this to her when she is at an appropriate age, and we can talk about it more. So yeah, I'm going to work on myself and try to be the best version of me that I can. I don't know what the future holds, but I guess I'll know eventually. Update 2. Hi everyone, I figured I would give one final update. My divorce has been finalized, and I feel exhausted and relieved. I am looking forward to starting the next chapter of my life. This was the longest close to 6 months of my life, and I'm happy it's over. I do feel a little empty, but that will pass eventually. My ex-wife dragged parts of it out more than needed, which was very frustrating. She ended up finding her own place, which she was not happy about. She is also pregnant, but neither of those are my problem. I have primary custody of our daughter. I get most weeknights and most weekends, plus travel. She and I are both doing well and adjusting to things a little bit. I'm still working on myself and think I have a long way to go. She is talking to a therapist who is helping her work through her emotions, and I tried to make the holidays special for her. I want to thank those of you who recommended support subreddits for infidelity. Reading a lot about similar situations has given me perspective on my situation. If anyone is going through a similar struggle, I understand what you're going through and hope you find the strength to do what you need to do.
All right, let's talk about red flags in relationships. Imagine this: 4 whole years without any intimacy. 4 years. That's longer than high school. Now, I'm not saying every relationship needs constant action, but come on. If your partner's rejecting you left and right without a solid reason, it's time to face facts. Best case? The spark's gone, and you're basically roommates. Worst case? Well, let's just say they might be getting their needs met elsewhere. Look, relationships take work, but they shouldn't feel like pulling teeth. If you're in this situation, it's time for a serious talk or a serious walk. Don't waste years of your life in relationship. Your happiness matters, and there are plenty of fish in the sea who won't leave you high and dry for 4 years straight.